All right, and it's World Water Day, March 22nd, and Lisa already has with her a guest who is going to speak about something in regards to that. So
yes, I have with me Sarah Jade Gavaya, who is the Water Sector Specialist with the Ministry of Public Utilities. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
What's the purpose of having International Water Day?
So the United Nations has delegated today as a day to celebrate water, and it embraces that water is central to eradicating poverty and building prosperous societies. And really the theme that they've chosen this year is leaving no one behind, because it recognizes that water is a human right, and that states are obligated to take steps towards ensuring universal access to water. Globally, we are really grappling with delivering on this mandate. 71% of the world's population has access to water. In the Latin America and Caribbean region, that figure is a little bit smaller, 65%.
Do we know what it is for Trinidad and Tobago?
Yes, in the Trinidad and Tobago context, 94% of our population have some level of access to potable water.
So we're above the average.
Yes, we are. And really, we have to recognize that there are a lot of pressures that are put on supplying water to people, from climate change to environmental degradation to unplanned and even ad hoc development, and even excessive and unsustainable consumption of water. So what World Water Day allows us to do is to stop and really take stock of where we are as a country in providing universal access to water.
And what sort of initiatives would you have to commemorate today, but also to ensure that the population is aware of some of these issues with regard to conserving water?
So today we are specifically commissioning a pipeline between South Oropouche to Labrie. And what that pipeline is going to do is increase reliability of supply to those residents. In terms of our long-term strategy at the Ministry of Public Utilities, we recognize that solving our water challenges is complex and it's very legacy. We've been going through this for years, and there are no overnight fixes because of that. So there are a lot of things that we should be doing really to give priority to water, and all hands on deck. So the utility consumers, and not just residents, but also industrial and commercial consumers. And this sort of changing our relationship with water and changing our behavioral patterns when we interact with water as citizens and consumers.
Now, Sarah, you said that we are at about 94% people have access to water. In general, some access to water. What is it that we are doing right that other countries could probably follow the example?
I think we've done a really good job at keeping up with the fast-paced development. So we've been able to really have some good infrastructural improvements over the past 2.5 decades to really get us there. So our investments in terms of capital has been good. However, that has made it difficult for us to prioritize maintenance of those assets.
I wrote down, did you see water quality? I said, but what about water quality though? Because I know some areas do suffer from varying degrees of quality with regard to water supply.
Yeah, we do have our challenges, and that's because, again, our network is aged. The country has, some of our pipelines are more than 50 years old. So it really is a very time and capital intensive process, and even disruptive for us to make that shift in maintaining those assets.
Is that on the agenda? Is there a timeline?
Certainly. It's a long-term program to address that age infrastructure. So the experts tell us 5 to 10 years, but replacing leaks and aggressively targeting those leaks, which also impacts water quality, is definitely something that we are doing now.
On a global scale, do you have any figures to support, like what level, in regards to water quality, what level we are at in the world, and where we should be or what we are doing right?
In Trinidad and Tobago, we follow the WHO, the World Health Organization's recommended guidelines for what water quality should be if you were to consume it. And we do pretty well. We are at 98%.
Wow.
Yeah, so we do a good job. And I think the challenges that we do face in terms of water quality don't necessarily impact us from a health perspective. They're more physical, sort of brown water. And they more occur after your water is gone for a while. So,
but not in all areas. I know some areas, speaking from experience, some areas it's like almost every day.
Yeah.
And it also provides some level of inconvenience to users, washing of clothing, cooking, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I know people are listening and saying, yes, World Water Day, we want to support, but we want clear water as well.
Yeah,
you know?
certainly. I think it's all hands on deck. There are a lot of moving parts to really fixing our challenges.
Yeah.
And we need to be each other's keeper. In Trinidad and Tobago, we actually consume double the recommended standard for reasonable use.
And what's that? What is the standard?
The standard is 200 liters per person per day. We consume 400 liters per person per day.
Wow.
Because we also have leaks in our homes, and then our consumption patterns in terms of water. So I think we all have to do our parts. We all have to be each other's keeper. It's a community and collective action for us to really change and ensure that no one is left behind in terms of water.
Yeah. All right, so tell us the plans for World Water Day and how people can get involved. What do you recommend they start doing? Baby steps.
Yeah. There are a lot of activities that are going to happen today, especially in the world of the NGOs. In terms of, I think today is a day for us as citizens to really reflect on how we use water and what is our relationship with water.
Yeah.
Things like taking shorter showers, turning off taps when we use it. We have a really strange habit of using what we call a hydraulic broom, which is a hose to wash every single thing.
Hydraulic broom.
Yeah. So, just taking stock really of how we look at this really very precious resource.
Yes, yeah. And especially now in the dry season, where it's anticipated that our water reserves would be significantly lower than it has been over previous years.
That is what we are seeing. A lot of our reservoirs are actually below the long-term average capacity, which means that we're using way more water than we expected to be using. And of course, the dry season places more stress.
Yeah.
And climate change as well places more stress on the resource. So it's just really looking at the entire value chain from the resource to the infrastructure to the consumer and how we could just join hands to really change our situation.
Great note for us to wrap it up and leave it there for today. Sarah Jade Govaya, Water Sector Specialist with Ministry of Public Utilities. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me. I love your brooch, your Trinidad and Tobago.
Trinidad and Tobago, yes.
Right now.